Live at 5 on Tuesday, December the 6th. And oh, a special guest today.
We have an amazing guest, and I know you're going to have a million questions for her. We have Judy Kuhn here, who is now Golda in Fiddler on the Roof.
Absolutely. You were at the Albee Memorial Service.
I went to the Edward Albee Memorial at the August Wilson Theater. It was really gorgeous.
Yeah.
It really was. A lot of people spoke. Bill Pullman, Mercedes Ruehl, who were in The Goat, Bill Irwin, who won a Tony for Virginia Woolf, and a lot of playwrights, John Guare, Will Eno, Arthur Kopit, Terrence McNally. It was just very, very moving and funny, and, you know, he was tough.
Yeah.
Edward was tough. So, as he always said, onward, onward.
Onward. Okay, so onward. Break a leg to Killian Donnelly, who will begin in Kinky Boots tonight, reprising his Olivier-nominated role of Charlie. And also congratulations, because he received a Grammy nomination today.
Yes,
The
that
Grammy
was terrific.
nominations are out. So for Best Musical Theatre Album, the London Kinky
The
cast
London
recording,
cast
yeah.
recorder of Kinky Boots.
The Colour Purple, Fiddler, Waitress.
She's not on
Not
it.
on it, but
It's
you know
okay.
what I mean.
That's okay.
It's general, you
Jessica
know,
Heck,
general well done.
congratulations.
Waitress, plus Babs got, Barbara Streisand got a nomination.
You can call her Babs.
I can
You're
call her
close.
Babs.
You're so close.
Absolutely so close like this. I don't think I've ever met Streisand. Oh well. She got a nomination for her Broadway type album. Josh Groban got a nomination. Kristen Chenoweth got a nomination. Check out
This is the
our
motion for
Grammy
got a nomination. I love
our
it. So
Grammy
many Broadway
nominee.
people. Marvelous.
story. Happy 1 year anniversary to School of Rock. We put up a little mini documentary, which was fun.
So good.
It's talking about, you know, it's Alex and Sierra and Dad, and talking about bringing it to Broadway. It's fun.
Dad.
Dad.
You know what she means.
Yeah. Will Eno's off-Broadway play is going to be called Wakey Wakey. We didn't know what it was going to be called. It's going to be called Wakey Wakey, and he'll direct the show at the Signature Centre off-Broadway from February the 7th.
Very exciting playwright.
Absolutely. We had, Emilio was working hard overnight, so we had the
yes.
gala to honour Joel Grey. Those pictures are up.
Yes, lots
And
of glitzy people there,
also
Bernadette Peters and such.
The Babylon line as
The
well.
Babylon line at Lincoln Center.
So yeah, check those
That's
photos
with Josh
out.
Radnor and Elizabeth Reeser. Really looks like a really great cast.
Odds and Ends today. Leading Odds and Ends, Buster Rhymes et al. Were on the Tonight Show
I never
last
thought
night.
we would talk about Buster Rhymes as much as
Doesn't
we
matter,
talked
the
about
next
him in
day.
the last week.
Anyway, so
I love your reaction.
I loved following that story though in Odds and Ends with Cinderella in London, because Buster Rhymes and Cinderella, two natural
Obviously.
sort of topics to go together. Followed by Chicago. There's a video up. The Chicago cast did a festive tune for Broadway Cares. And there's also a new trailer for Lemony Snicket starring Neil Patrick Harris up. NPH does not look like NPH in this Netflix.
He was?
Does not look like NPH.
He doesn't look like himself?
No.
That's probably good.
Probably good.
For this purpose.
Todrick Hall is going to be our next Ask a Star, so get your questions in.
Speaking of kinky boots.
Absolutely. And the Hot Shot Gallery, I think, is going to be live.
Yes, and there's lots of hairspray
Yeah,
stuff.
also Hairspray
Because,
Live.
Hairspray Live is tomorrow.
Yeah, so we've got
tomorrow.
frequently asked questions up. Lindsay's article. Ryan McPhee did a piece about the creatives.
He interviewed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But more importantly, no
I'm
offense,
leaving now.
Judy Kuhn is here, ladies and
Bye.
gentlemen. The one and only Judy Kuhn. I think that all of your entrances should be like that.
Yes,
Hi,
I
Judy.
think I'm going to take that home.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, it's so
I'm
nice
so
to
excited
be
I get to
here.
interview such a big star. So how's it going over at Fiddler?
It's fantastic, actually. You know, it was fast and furious. I had 2 weeks to learn the show.
Wow.
And the first week was pretty intense. But my second week was last week. Tonight is the beginning of my third week. Last week I started to relax and
Feel the love with all the daughters?
I no longer had part of my brain going, wait,
What's
am
next?
I standing in the right place? What comes next? What line do I say here? Did I say the correct word?
You're
I'm
relaxing a little bit.
yeah,
That's
so
really
it's
good.
really great.
First of all, everyone's like, I love you, Judy. I love you. She loves you all back. Every single one of you.
Yes, I do.
There are so many quirky connections with you and Fiddler. For example, you were obviously in the gorgeous Fun Home.
Yes.
Then Rebecca Luker came in.
Yes.
Danny Burstein's wife. Hello.
Yes.
Also, the last revival of Fiddler starred Randy Graff. They have a little connection. Maybe you heard of a little show called Les Mis.
Yes.
I think you knew that. So, did you talk to any of these folks about doing Fiddler?
No, I didn't actually. Although Randy sent me a good luck message on Facebook, because Randy also played Golda
That's what I'm saying.
In the last revival.
In the last
Yeah,
revival,
right.
Fiddler, Randy Graff, who was Fontaine.
Right.
And
Well, there's also another. Fiddler was actually the first Broadway show I saw when I was a child.
really?
Yes, and I
What was
will
your
never
feeling
forget.
about that?
Oh, I was just blown away. I mean, listen, it's one of the greatest
a
shows
great
ever
story.
written.
Beautiful
And
music.
As a child, I was just. I mean, I
How old were
still. I'm going to date myself. I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
I won't tell you what year I
Doesn't
saw it.
matter. You don't know what revival, what show.
But it was transporting to me, and I think it was the beginning of my thinking, I want to do that, what those people are doing up there. I might want to do that.
I could see that.
And then, of course, my first role in a Broadway show was Rags, which was written by Joe Stein, who wrote the book for Fiddler. And it was, people sort of thought of it as almost like a sequel to Fiddler, because it was about the immigrants when they arrived in America.
The Jewish
So
experience.
I do feel like there's a full circle kind of
there's a
thing
through line for
that's-
you.
Yeah.
That must feel very deep for you to do something, to be on stage in a show that you saw as a child.
It absolutely does. It's kind of a dream. And this production is so gorgeous.
Well, you can't get better than Danny Burstein as your leading man.
You cannot get better than Danny Burstein.
He's such a generous guy.
And he was born to play this part. It will never be played better than how he's playing it. And
Hi, Danny. I know you're watching.
and he's the perfect scene partner, and it's great. And the whole cast has been so warm and embracing and welcoming. And
These daughters are a little bit different than your daughter in the last show you did, don't you think? A little different.
Yes, they're a little older.
A little older.
They have different challenges.
And there are more of them. There are a lot more of them.
Yes, and there are many more of them.
Okay. I'm going to ask you these questions because there are like a million questions from all of your fans. Fans. Well, everyone, oh my God, there's so many, I have to go back. Jaden wants to know, would you consider doing a live musical on TV?
Sure.
What do you
I
want
was
to do?
asked.
What would be your dream live TV musical?
Oh, gosh.
Don't say Hairspray because that's tomorrow. It's a done deal.
I don't know. I don't know what makes a particularly good live. Well, this show would be fun to do.
I think so, too.
Fiddler would be really great to do live, actually.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, let's do it.
Happy Hanukkah, we're doing Fiddler next year. Jeffrey says you're even at the same theater Les Mis opened in. Thank you, Jeffrey, for your theater knowledge and history.
That is true too. I
Did it
had
feel like coming home?
That theater's haunted for me by all those memories.
What does it feel like for you to go in there, go to the dressing room, see all that?
It's crazy, I actually went up and visited my old dressing room, and there's this spot where I make my first entrance in Fiddler is also the spot I made my first entrance as Cosette, and I remember that feeling of standing there
And waiting to go on.
and that that gate, it's like making
That's
my
amazing.
entrance onto the moving revolve.
Right. Of course.
So it
the
still
revolve,
feels
everyone
very, fresh to me,
That's
even though it's so
hilarious.
long ago.
Okay, everyone always wants to ask you about Pocahontas. So,
Okay.
Peyton says, what was it like? What was it like recording Pocahontas?
Oh, it was thrilling. I mean, well,
Do you
first
get
of
asked
all,
that every single time you're interviewed? I feel like we
No,
cannot let Judy Kuhn
I
walk
do
by.
not. People ask me all different things about Pocahontas, but first of all, it was a 90-piece orchestra. So to be on a sound stage with a 90-piece orchestra, I mean, even the rare time when you get a full orchestra on Broadway these days, it's not 90
No.
people.
30 is a lot on Broadway.
Yes, so that sound, I can remember walking in the studio my very first day, and they were rehearsing, and hearing that sound, tears came to my eyes. It was so moving, and it was a challenge because you really have to. You're acting only with your voice, and they're very specific about what they want, and you have images to look at so you know what's happening. Like, this is when she's going over the waterfall on that word.
I didn't realize
So
that.
you have, it's all storyboarded, and they tell you what action is happening with each line of the song. And
That sounds complicated.
I guess I could tell the story.
Here's something exclusive.
When you're recording, there's a whole lineup of executives, the directors, the animators, the writers, everybody. and they all have a sheet and they're making notes while you're doing a take.
That's very intimidating.
So then you come out and everybody gives you their notes. And, sometimes it's like, we need this on this word or that on that line. And, then you do it over and over. And at one point, my head was so full of notes. The music director came into the isolation booth where I was doing the vocals and said, okay, now just forget what everybody said and just sing it. And so I said, okay. So I went, I sang it, and they all went, oh, yeah, that was it. So I was like, okay.
And like, let it go. Let it all go.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Oh, there's so many questions. Everyone always asks this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really fair because you just started in Fiddler, but have there been any onstage mishaps?
In Fiddler?
Not so
Or
far.
just
in general, I guess.
Oh, so far, no mishaps.
We're gonna knock on
in
loose sight, everyone.
Fiddler.
Knocking on loose sight.
Oh my God, a lot of mishaps.
Well, it's a huge show with a lot of moving parts, so
Yes.
I imagine there's not everything goes perfectly all the time.
Yes. Well, I personally have not yet had any mishaps in Fiddler.
And I'm sure you.
I've had many mishaps in other shows, certainly.
Well, this is what your 10th Broadway show,
Yeah.
so that's fine.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, there's so much. Billy says, did Jessica Hecht give you any advice before you were on playing Golda?
Oh, Jessica was so good to me. She was so helpful and so, loving and great. Let's see, I'm trying to think if there's any specific advice she gave to me.
Like how to keep your babushka on, anything like that. Stay away from Sprincy, she's trouble, something like that. I'm just guessing.
Nothing like that.
Nothing that specific. Jessica, you forgot the details. You should have given her.
No, but she was really helpful
She
and
was.
very, very, yeah.
That's nice. It's good when people are
Because
generous
there are always
and helpful.
things that, when you do a part, like stage managers will tell you the blocking, and of course the director comes in, and, Bart came in and worked with me, but there are always little things that only the person who plays the role knows. Like, it's really good if you hold that pot in this hand or I always take this entrance on this word because,
They really
so
know
there are
the details.
certain things that,
you have to
you
live it.
learn from living it, exactly.
That makes sense. Okay, so Ben sobs all over everything you do. Apparently, Ben is like, "Why do you make me cry? Why?
Sorry,
How's
Ben.
it feel to make me sob during days and days?" Ben, do you want to console Ben?
I'm sorry, Ben.
We're sorry.
The thing that's great about Fiddler, though, is I also get to make people laugh.
That's true.
So
It's true. They laugh, they cry.
Then they cry. But
Then they cry.
They love.
But first you laugh, right?
Exactly.
Do You Love Me always makes me laugh.
Yes.
Joseph wants to know any role or show you'd secretly like to play that people wouldn't expect to see you in.
Oh.
We don't know what your expectations are.
I
first
don't
of
know
all.
what people. I like to dash people's expectations.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder what he would not expect to see me in.
Ben has a lot of questions. Judy, how does it feel to be a goddess? I'd like to know. How does it feel to be a goddess? You've been a princess.
I don't feel like a goddess. I don't know that anybody in my family
But if a
thinks
goddess
of
had
me
a
as
voice,
goddess.
this would probably be what it sounds like. I'm just putting that out there. David wants to know a previous role you'd like to do again. That's an interesting question.
Oh, that is an interesting question. Because I got to do Fosca and Passion twice.
That's
and actually, I'd do that again anytime. I feel like that part is like, somebody once said that's like, for a woman, like a musical theater version of Hamlet.
Sure.
Like,
you can just
there
plumb
will
the depth.
always be so many different interpretations of that
Mhm.
role. You can endlessly explore it. And that was the first time I'd ever played a part twice,
Mhm.
and it was really thrilling to come back to it, especially it had been 10 years or something. Being older, a little more experience, having new ideas, and really come back to it and re-explore
That would
it.
be
And I would
fascinating.
do it again. I would totally do that
That's
again.
interesting. There's so many questions. Stephen wants to know any tips for students looking to go into musical theater?
Well, I would say never stop studying, acting, voice, movement, take care of your body. Don't get discouraged when you're young, especially. Say yes to everything because you'll always learn something.
Mm-hmm.
and be kind. Be a good colleague.
Be generous.
Be generous and kind, even when things
Tell
are going
the next
badly.
person what word to go out on.
Yes.
Which hand to hold the pot in. That's important to share those details. Sanford wants to know, what do you remember most from your time in chess on Broadway?
Oh, wow.
These are very
God,
specific questions, but your
so
fans know your
much,
work so well.
You know, it was a thrilling experience, at times terrifying, because I had never sort of been the center of a show before. There were, speaking of mishaps, there were many mishaps with the set.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, I'm sure there were probably a lot of the people who are asking questions are too young to have seen it.
They
And
probably
know
just
it from the
addicted to
recording.
Yeah.
But there were these huge towers that moved around on stage, and inside each one of those towers was a member of our crew who pushed it around.
Tower movers,
and
they're
they
called.
had,
That's
like,
the
there were
term.
dots on the floor that they followed, and there were times when their headsets would go out because they were run on these battery packs, and you'd be doing a scene and you'd hear, like, one of the towers, inside a tower, you'd hear, Joe, I'm out. And then a stage, you know, a PA or somebody would come running out and move them into the next spot, or sometimes they, in a transition, one of them would get lost, and the scene would have started, but you could see this tower kind of going around, trying to find its mark.
Wow, that's a lot.
Those are some memories. But my most fondest memory was singing and acting with David Carroll, the late great David Carroll,
Yes.
who was, you know, speaking of a goddess,
Generous.
he was a god.
He was a god. All right, well, we're going to get going, but gosh, there's so many questions, you guys. What was the most rewarding part of Fun Home? Sarah, how could you ask such a question?
Oh God, that I couldn't pick one, but I mean, I think the gift of that show, aside from the fact that it was a brilliant show, brilliantly written, brilliantly directed, designed, performed, you know, it was just an amazing piece of theater to be a part of. I think the most amazing thing about being in that company and the journey of it, because it was a long journey, was all the things that happened around the show. I mean, you know, we went and did a benefit concert in Orlando for Equality Florida after the Pulse nightclub massacre, and we had Samantha Power came, our soon-to-be former UN ambassador, came with ambassadors from all over the world, and some
You just
from
reached
countries.
so many people with this story. That's a very specific story to Alison Bechtel, but it was universal.
It was universal, and it was important, and you know, it taught people things. I mean, these ambassadors who came, some were from countries where it's illegal to be gay.
Right.
And we had a discussion with them afterwards. Some of them didn't know what they were seeing, and the things
they
they
were in for a
said
surprise.
afterwards was astounding, and you felt like that's going to go back to where they come from, you know. So
That's
it was
amazing.
really extraordinary experience in every way.
Okay, here's what everyone's saying. Judy, come back. Come back to Live at 5. We have more questions for you. They all want to know. Well, if you want to see Judy Kuhn, you have to go to the Broadway Theater and see Fiddler on the Roof
Before 4 more weeks.
Before the end of the year. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.